everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tube, or welcome back if this is your 19th The Rookie Season 4 episode review. We're here. We're at the two-part spin-off setup event. So this is the second time, I believe, I've reviewed an episode of a show that is going to kind of set up another potential show down the line, which, if you're unaware, some of the characters you see in this week's episode, including our guest star Nisha Nash, I believe her name is, playing Simone, as well as a couple of other the main FBI dudes from the people from this week, are potential candidates to be stars for a spinoff, focusing on the FBI side of the world of becoming a rookie. And so for me, going into, like, of course, I love The Rookie so much, so I was hesitant a little bit because I wanted the core Rookie to be fine and to be sustainable, and then if you were to do a spinoff, have it be its own identity, but have it still be as charming and wonderful as the show has become. And so far, from what we see, it's a two-parter, so it's still a Rookie episode. It's still a Rookie episode event, but you have these characters that are thankfully not shoehorned in too much in order to, like, create a distraction of, like, this is another, because a bad idea that a lot of spin-offs, spin-off setup episodes do is that they basically pitch you, here's the entire pilot for our show, but you're still watching the main show, and that's always been a problem for me. Like, I think Supernatural was a sad victim of this, where Supernatural did 2 spin-off attempts during its 15th season run, but neither were picked up because the problem was that both of them didn't feel like Supernatural episodes. It felt like Sam and Dean were involved in the plot, but it was mainly the episode with the cast for this potential spin-off, which for me was never the problem. It just, I feel like you need to kind of, like, not hold their hands, but hold the viewer's hand of, like, being introduced to these characters, not get too in the weeds of it, but still being intrigued enough to want to see a full show dedicated to these people. That's at least in my opinion, and why Supernatural, Bloodlines, and Wayward Sisters never got picked up. That's just my preference on why. With this, we get enough of Simone, who is going to be our potential main character for this spinoff, and how is she going to fit into the larger Rookie world, but also kind of still doing her own thing. And honestly, for me, by the end of her first scene, and also by the end of the episode, I was like, I'm in. Like, for me, I think Simone is a very unique enough character where you can see some of the parallels between her and Nolan, but it's not too bad. They still have their own identities. They still have their own background. There's still so much story that we don't know about with her, that for me, like, Nolan basically saying, like, you're the real deal was kind of like his seal of approval. Like, you're one of the good ones, that you have the right intentions. And I think she's going to go far being an FBI agent. And I honestly, that was just enough for me to be sold on it. Again, we have an entire second episode with these characters and with Simone that we could either, maybe for me, like, maybe I'll retrace some of my words, or maybe just increase the quality of what I'm going to be saying in this episode. And that's the benefit of this two-part, where, like, we have space to breathe. We have space for these characters to have a real chance to make them. And let's just say the spinoff doesn't happen. It's another one of those delightful, another very great addition to the Rookie world, where I could easily see her, like, being a Bailey character, where she's somehow involved in certain episodes, even though she doesn't get her own show. It works on both fronts. It really does. That there is a potential we get to see her character continue to grow and evolve in some matter or form. But let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of The Rookie. So we begin, it's a man is jogging in the park. His girlfriend and his dog are kind of lagging behind a little bit, and he gets asked by this really creepy Russian dude to kind of, like, hey, there's something up at this power station. Can you come in and, like, help me out a second? He had a knife in his back and trying to, like, entice this guy to come forward, but when the guy's girlfriend and his dog come up, he's like, let's get out of here. You're my excuse. I need to get the hell out of here. This guy's creepy. Let's call 911 and report this in. Chen and Nolan are riding along together again, and Nolan is commenting that Bailey's on this National Guard reserves thing for the week, so I think she has to watch over the local National Guard base in LA for the week, so she's basically living there, taking off from her firefighter duties. And he's like, it kind of sucks because For me, I'm like, did they just move in together? And Jen was like, wait, didn't you guys move in already? It's like, no. She has her own place, but she just stays over most of the time. And I was like, yeah, dude, she's living with you. It's like, it's a done deal. You basically moved in already. You didn't even know it. But the conversation is sideways a bit when they get the call for this power station. So they head over there. They look around. It seems to be normal, but they notice a detonator for a bomb. So they start running out. Explosion happens. They get a little bit shaken up. So since it was connected to a power substation, the entire power to a specific section of the valley is shut down. So they have no power. But because of this being a kind of a city / federal attack, the FBI is called in to kind of like take over the investigation. But because Gray's also present on the scene, and he's like, well, you're not going to sideline us. Like, 2 of my officers were nearly killed during this attack. So we're going to get involved. And he's like, all right, fine, go ahead. I mean, we'll make this a joint task force then. You know, we'll make it work. I want to say, I think they start talking to the couple who were at the site, and they were like just talking about like, there's a Russian dude, he has a scar on his face, just general details. And no, but before we get to that, Lopez and Harper are on a different assignment today because Harper wants to be off patrol duty because of her impending birth. So she's mostly trying to be in civies. So being a detective full time kind of like helps out with that. So they hit up a call from someone who reported a break-in into his house. This guy seems like a very total like I forgot the terminology for it. He's just not right in the head. He really is. And he starts saying that, oh, an alien broke into my house and he stole some of my manuscripts for this book I'm writing about traffic pathways and such and how we can improve on it. And they're like a big concern, like the ways they like extraterrestrial and a spaceship. And honestly, like, are we doing this just for comedic relief for this week? Because I honestly thought that we were going to get that. But okay, I was like, cool, we're getting conspiracy theories this week. Great. So while they're looking for the couple and trying to find this guy, we do get a lead on the bomb where a piece of the detonator survived and it has the coding imprint. It has some sort of connection to this young man who apparently designed the detonator. So they hit up his apartment. They don't find him. He's just completely gone. So they got really no choice to figure that out. So they have to try and find a way. Okay, how do we find this guy? Because he's kind of our key to get to the main guy. I'm going to call the main guy Scar because he has that big-ass scar in his face. I want to say, so, yeah, so while Nolan and the others are kind of like cleaning up the scene and getting it all straightened away for evidence collection, the FBI agents are trying to figure out any sort of connection with this kid, or not this kid, this guy. And they're like, well, ironically, we do have a connection. One of his guidance counselors that knows him pretty well for when he was in high school is ironically a current FBI rookie down in Quantico. And he's like, and the main dude, I forgot his name, the guy with the beard, the one running point on this investigation was like, great, bring her up here. We gotta see what she knows about this guy and kind of get her insight on it. So we cut over to Quantico, where we see this very intense simulation of a car chase happening. And then this is how we meet Simone, who's like very fast and furious. I'll say that she's just very aggressive, doing what she needs to do. Still somehow cleaning off this track with flying colors. Gets the dude, and the instructor's like, "You are not supposed to do any of that. That is not FBI regulation." But Simone perfectly comments, "Well, did I mess up the course? Is everything? Is there anything like off the rails?" And she's like, technically you didn't do anything wrong. And she's like, well, does it really matter? I got the job done. And he was about to start berating her, like, look, there's a specific way we do things in the FBI, but before he can get to the entire speech / monologue, a private helicopter shoots down and they need her to come over all the way to LA. So she boards up, and I was like, honestly, like, how do I say this? Like, if this was like any other, like, I don't know why, maybe I'm thinking of Pokemon here, where if you don't remember, or if anyone doesn't watch Pokemon here, in the Black and White series, there was this big event that was going to happen back in the beginning of the series, and it was going to extrapolate them with them going into a helicopter, going off to this adventure, but then apparently, sadly, a tragic national tragedy happened with the 2011 earthquake and tsunami. So They couldn't really do that episode anymore. So I always found it very hilarious when anyone suddenly gets into a helicopter. It's like, I'm doing this big thing. And so she's off on an adventure, which that's kind of reminding me a little bit of that. So we're at the FBI headquarters in LA. We have Nolan and the officers there, Sands, Lopez, and Harper. They're all there, a bunch of FBI agents, and then comes Simone just kind of loudly making herself in there, and this was pretty funny. I honestly liked her in the scene. And they're giving a profile on the guy, and Simone very much is disagreeing with the interpreters, not the interpreters, the profilers take on him, since of course Simone has that sort of experience with the guys, the kids, so she's like, that's not him at all, and she's giving her side of things. And although the director on this case is very much in agreement, it's like, yeah, you're probably right, but you're just a rookie, you're just still a recruit, so I'm gonna trust this profile who's been experienced for many years over here, which kind of does suck. And then once she kind of gets pulled aside to talk to him about like what she's gonna do in this case, they're like, yeah, we really don't need you here. You could just go back home. We'll give you a voucher so you can hop on the next plane back to Maryland. Which I'm confused, like, wait a minute. Well, not Maryland, Virginia. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, hold on. So, you asked for this woman to fly from the East Coast all the way to freaking LA, and now you're telling me, oh, wait, hold on, we don't need you. It's like, okay, that's like my only criticism of the episode, like with his speaking of like, wait, so you asked this rookie, this recruit, to basically leave her training camp for this operation, and then like literally she's only there for like 5 minutes, and you're like, oh, we don't need you anymore, sorry. Which I'm like, bro, what was the whole point there? Obviously, it was just meant to get Simone in LA so she can be part of the plot, but like, honestly, that wasn't really the best writing in the world on that. I will admit that. That was like my only real flaw in there. So she's kind of disgruntled. She doesn't really want to go back already because she just got there, and considering her former students kind of involved in this, she doesn't really want to leave yet. Nolan spots her and kind of like gives her a little bit of a pep talk that like, you know, don't discourage yourself. Like, you were the only one I actually really listened to because you actually have experience in this field. So he offers her to like ride along with him and try to like, you know, find this guy themselves for the rest of his shift. So she goes along with it. So they're exploring, they're getting to know a little bit about each other, making the comparison that not that long ago, Nolan was the oldest rookie in the PTO program, and Simone's currently the oldest recruit in the FBI program, which is like so coincidental. But we get a little bit of Simone's story here that she always wanted to be an FBI. It wasn't like Nolan just deciding last minute to be a cop. This was definitely Simone always wanted to be an FBI agent since she was younger. But then she got pregnant with twins, and then she had to focus on their financial upbringing, making sure they were raised correctly. So she put her dream to the side. So she headed off to DC to become a guidance counselor for a local high school. That's where she made her living. No word on the father of those twins as of this episode. But, you know, again, they give us, this is one of the good things, they give us enough, like, this is like a big, like, here's her entire backstory in this one episode, so you know, no, you're intrigued enough about, like, here's her basics. And then if she gets her own show, we'll fill out the details as those episodes progress. And honestly, I feel like that's great. That's enough to tell this story. Like, Simone doesn't need to basically drop her entire life story onto Nolan. So once after her twins went off to college, and she was like, okay, time for Mama to pursue her dreams. So she got into the program for the FBI, and there she is right now. So Nolan says, like, look, my only advice I can give you is that just because you're older, that means you're more experienced in different ways than the 20-year-olds that are just starting out their careers there. So don't get discouraged if you really can't keep up with them physically. Surpass them in other ways as you can, kind of how Nolan's been doing so far in this show's run. But then eventually they find Simone earlier in the office scene. She mentions that one of the things that this kid liked to do was when he was younger, he would like to go underground, get away from everyone, be in this quiet environment so that he's not disturbed. So they find him in this underground homeless track, which involves a brief chase scene. But when Simone notices that he's getting away, she basically hijacks Nolan's car and backs up into it. Safely, of course. He just rammed into the door, so they get him on that. So he's taken, and he's obviously confused, like, Miss Clark, what are you doing here? It's like, it's coincidental. Like, our worlds are colliding. It's like, oh well. So they head up to the police station. The FBI agents kind of berate Simone for a bit because she didn't follow orders to get back to Quantico right away. So now they're asking her, like, go back right now because we don't need you. We appreciate your help, but you shouldn't have been here. So we're going to take care of it. Don't worry about it. So she's on her way out. Nolan tries to, like, offer up some food as, like, as a goodbye thing before she heads off, but she's like, no, I got my own places. I used to live in LA, which I'm like, that's a coincidence. But again, the world's so big and small. Like, yeah, it was not surprising that she probably has some roots in LA, considering the format of the spin-off setup. But before she's able to leave even the hallway, the FBI agent comes back and says, hey, this guy only wants to talk to you, so get back over here. So she heads in, he immediately starts opening up, and they get a little bit of their background history that Simone was a bit of a different guidance counselor there, where she always had to talk with him to get answers, but sometimes he doesn't want to talk. So for a long time during his I think he said junior and sophomore junior year, he would just drop by her office, stay there for like 15 minutes, kind of de-stress about the world, and then just head off to class. And then his grades started improving on that. His home is at home improved a lot. So it was great. Simone did really did a good impact on him. But after he left high school and became an engineer, I believe, times got tough. He needed money, so he decided to offer his services on the dark web, which gave him to contact with this dude. So yeah, there you go. So that's how he got in touch with him. All he wanted was like six detonators, one traditional time detonator, and 5 unique GPS coordinated set detonators. But then at first he was like, I shouldn't do this, but I needed the money, so he did what he had to do. But once he dropped them off, he realized he made a mistake, and the guy ran off with the detonators. So, but he doesn't have any more information beyond that. No clue on like what his plans are, what's the end game here, like nothing really. So that was all the information he was able to give. But because he was technically an accessory, not by kind of by choice, not 100%, but like it gets murky there. He gets arrested and is going to be charged for this crime of accessory to conspiracy. But Simone's like, this isn't right. Like I gotta get him a lawyer to help him out. Because even Nolan's like, if you do this, you're basically saying the FBI is wrong, and that could really put you in a bad spot when you get back to Quantico. And she's like, I don't care. When I was a guidance counselor, I promised my students, no matter when and where, I will always have your back. And even though he's been graduated for years now, it doesn't matter to her. Like, she's still going to do what she can to help him. So she's like, I know someone. I'm gonna go reach out to him and like get this all squared away for him. But thank you so much for your advice and input. So they kind of split off there. So once they know that now they know like there's 5 other detonators with potential bombs out there, they're trying to figure out, well, why was the power substation even figured out in the first place? So they're trying to figure that out, and they eventually find out, well, if he was taking out power to the whole valley, what was so valuable in the valley that he can use for these detonators? And they find out that the National Guard Reserve Armory is also in the valley, and it was affected by the power shutdown. So they put two together that he's probably heading there, and then we get to see the Russian Scar. I'm gonna just call him Scar. I forgot. Pull up, and he's like, "Look, I got your husband, so you're gonna let me in, no problem, no questions asked. Otherwise, he's gonna die." And he's got no choice. He's got to go in and get him in there. So they all start piling towards there. They know the severity of this. Bailey's on site as well because of her, ironically, her shift duty there this week. So they're trying to get in there. But sadly, he's already gone. They've noticed one of the Humvees escaping, so they presume that was his plan. So they chase after him. Initially, they didn't want to engage because of the high armor, the defensive level on this vehicle. Like, it's really hard for like a police car to like really take down. So they're like, okay, if we ran them together at the same time, that might be enough to like kind of pull him off the road, which it does work. It pulls him on the floor. But when he opens up the door, it's the front gate dude that it turns out. The other incentive was, you got to drive this car and get the police off my track. And the other guy got what he needed from the armor, which was like a ton of C4 explosive material. So yeah, he's got what it takes to really cause a bomb or like really cause some damage in the city. So they're screwed on that. Simone hits up a local house in LA. It turns out to be her dad, who's not happy with her. Apparently, he does not support the decision to join the FBI because he was part of the defund the police movement, and Simone joined the FBI. So she's like, this is a massive betrayal of our trust, of our history. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, only talk to me when the twins are involved. And she's like, look, we got to talk. Like, like, we just got to talk. I'm your daughter. You're my dad. Like, we have to talk. So, she heads in. She explains that like she's only here because she wants him to find a really good lawyer for the kid to have when he does go to court, because he doesn't deserve to be sentenced fully, just because he was accidentally involved in a conspiracy that he really had no involvement in. So they were talking that out, and then they were having a little bit of a bonding moment, like kind of like catching up about how like the old times were. And again, this is like just the right amount of tease. We're like, they have a damaged relationship, but how did it lead to it? Where's her mom? Like, is her mom dead? Did she get divorced? Like, we really don't know. And there's a lot of question mark, but there's still hope here for this relationship, since he's not fully shutting her out anymore, but he's still like not supportive of her decisions. And even Simone opens up that there's a chance she might even get kicked out of the program, because so far everything she's done since she got back to LA was go behind their backs. And even though she's actually achieved results doing what she's doing, it's not their way, and it's not what the FBI wants to do. So she's just scared that the moment she gets back to Quantico, she's going to be chewed out for it, and she's going to have problems with them. But her dad's like, listen, as long as you're true to yourself and you're doing what you're doing, that's all that matters. Just choose your next move carefully, and then make your plan after that. So that's pretty good advice from the guy. So and he also agrees to like find a lawyer for the kid. So he said, don't worry about that. I'll handle it from there. So then we head back over to the, we do get an update on the whole, alien thing. So what was ironic was, so they were able to get some partial prints from the supposed intruder, which apparently, it was classified. The identity of the person, like they just couldn't get access to the identity of it. So Harper went to like a friend of hers in another department, and even she said, yeah, I don't have access either. So Harper does some digging. The order from who did this was from Area 51, and I'm like, wait, so the alien conspiracy site is the people who blocked the access to this guy's identity, and also ironically it relates to the guy who's claiming this guy's an alien, which I'm like, that is superbly ironic, but okay, we'll roll with that. We cut to the next morning. The FBI director is telling them that this is becoming a full FBI investigation now that this guy has C4. We do not require police matters on this. It's now a full federal investigation. But Gray's like, look, are you really just blaming us because we weren't able to like really get the dude? And he's not confirming it, so they have an argument in Gray's office. It's really not pretty. Simone's there to kind of talk to him for a bit, but the other FBI leader chews her out for still being here, that she already should be back in Quantico. And Simone's like, look, the moment I get back to Quantico, y'all are going to find a reason to fire me, so at least I should stay here and still do my best to contribute to this case, and then head back there when it's all said and done. And she starts trying to tell her like what she has at stake here, what the connection really is for her to still be here. She's like, I know, I read your file, but it's still like, you still gotta follow rules, still gotta follow regulations. So Simone doesn't really know what to do. She sees Harper and Lopez interrogating the dude who cried alien, and again, they're really going nowhere with this. Like, the guy's really not making much more sense. So Simone tags in to help out, since she's gonna use her guidance counselor training to kind of like find a way to see what the real case is, or at least get this guy off them. So she takes him to the break room. They talk for a bit. It was actually a very nice, simple banter for the most part for a crazy conspiracy nut job. But then, of course, he says like, oh, well, the alien shapeshifts. And she's like, so what? It's like a 30-something-year-old white man. She's like, does the white man have a scar? And he's like, yeah, that's him. That's the guy. So apparently the two things the entire time, this alien thing was connected to this dude. So they have a name of reference. They eventually start cross-matching everything. I want to remember that anything else happened beforehand. Actually, not that I recall. So once they got the address, once they start cross-referencing everything, they got the address. They're about to go in. And once again, Simone gets praised, but she doesn't really get much input. So once everyone kind of has their directive and continues to move forward, the FBI director stands back and like, so do you want to be part of the task force? And she's like, well, are you gonna be a fool and not let me be on it? It's very nice banter where like even the guy's like a bit of a strict ass, similar to how Gray was at the start, but he's starting to loosen up a little bit, like saying like you're doing good, ride along with me, and like you're part of this team now. Um, so yeah, so they head up to the house of the dude. They sadly find the guy that he was holding hostage. Sadly killed. Presumably after he returned home with the explosives, he probably killed him because his usefulness ran up. They looked around; it's completely abandoned. All the plans, everything that he had like in his mind to plan out, is basically gone. So they try to like get something off the map, and they're trying to cross-reference that. Well, this guy was probably like an ex-military, considering the fact he's living a very rural, very simple lifestyle. So it probably could be just that upbringing he had, and just probably something in his past basically led him to like. And they eventually do find a word where it means like the power is lost. So they're just assuming that he's trying to take away the power of LA, trying to like really make a big dent in the system. And they're figuring out like, well, the book he stole, the manuscript, had a lot of information on highways and freeways. So they're assuming that he's going to take out the freeways and kind of like trap the people of LA in the city. I think that's his plan at least. So, which is kind of right. So now they're trying to figure out, well, where will we start? Where can we go from there? And then we cut over to these 4 to 5 moving trucks loaded with C4, and he is posing as this professor who's doing this survey on traffic and traffic and just driving patterns. So all these people are unwillingly transporting these explosives to these specific GPS points in the city to blow up everything and kind of like cause mayhem throughout LA. So now everyone's on high alert. They got to find these vans. They got to stop this plot. And Scars is looking above the city, kind of contempt that his plan is finally coming to motion. And that's where we end this part 1 of the spin-off setup special for The Rookie. So, repeating from what I said from the jump, I really liked this episode. I really did. I think this was a very fine part 1 spin-off setup, as well as a standalone Rookie event episode. I liked it a lot. Again, we had the right amount of Simone in there. Simone and the other FBI agents did not overstay their welcome. We just got enough of their personality, of their stories, just in the first episode. We'll probably get a little bit more in the second episode, but we didn't get an overstuffedness, which is what a lot of spin-off setup shows tend to like fail at. The characters are all unique. We see similarities, but in terms of just core personalities, but we're seeing other unique traits that kind of make them their own character. And I really like Simone. I really do. I'm going to reserve all my final thoughts for next week when we come back. But right now, she's winning me over. I could definitely see her leading her own show week to week. What the show will be called, I really don't know. But no, this is so far great. This is doing exactly what a setup needs to do. It's definitely pitching to me as a fan to go see the show if it inevitably gets picked up. But no, yeah, like so far right now, part 1 aside, this has been great so far. I love the interactions. Love how the subplot, even though as comedic as it could sound, somehow it's all connected somehow, and it just worked out. It really did. But at the end of the day, it still felt like a Rookie episode. Like if the spin-off doesn't happen, like I said before, this totally is a serviceable Rookie episode, and it worked. So, which has already been what the Rookie's been doing the last 3.5 seasons alone. So, no complaints out of me. So far, 2 thumbs up. I really enjoyed it. Can't wait for part 2 next week, which will conclude this episode event, and we'll have a little bit more of a taste of what Simone and her side of the world is going to offer if we do get that show picked up for whatever at some point next year. So we'll see how that goes. But again, let me know in the comments below. What did you think of this week's episode of The Rookie? I'd love to talk to you about down below as always. So shoot me a comment down there. And I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's Up to from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the 4th season of The Rookie. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's Up to besides our Rookie episode reviews, we're doing Walker episode reviews each and every week after a brand new episode on the CW every week as well. So stay tuned for that. That's coming back this week because we were on a bit of a break again. And also this week, we're starting up a brand new review series under the banner of heaven, starring Andrew Garfield. That will be special premiere night on Friday for us, moving over to a Saturday time slot next week. to flip over for Walker that's wrapping up as well. So that's going to be a fun time. I love Andrew Garfield, so can't wait to see how that show's going to go. So stay tuned for the end of the week for that one. But again, this has been What's the Two from ActionX. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX videos. Ring that bell for notification when our next episode review is live. Please also like, favorite, share if you want to. Please ring the bell. Please also follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates we may have for the channel. Follow us on our other channel, The Collection Compass. And yeah, that's basically about it. Again, for all you rookie fans out there, I'll see y'all next week for part 2 of this 2-part event. But until then, until we see each other again, for all you members of the Rookie Nation, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.